What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Tuesday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials 105.1 FM and 790, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. You got your app. Download and take on the go wherever. And you got your smart devices. Video streams also up and rolling right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Appreciate you making us a plan for us. We got lots to catch up on. Out yesterday, just a little under the weather here, so but we'll power through, make it through here this Tuesday morning. So what do we got on the game plan here? We got Bucks to catch up on, catch up on here a little bit. Third seed in the Eastern Conference going up against the Indiana Pacers. Their first game coming up on Sunday. The playoffs start tonight with some play-in games over there. So we'll make some picks. Send me your NBA Finals predictions, champion predictions. Got a feeling a lot of people, majority, if not almost everybody's going to go with with the Boston Celtics over there. But nonetheless, how far do you have the Bucks going? Or if you're a T-Wolves fan, how far do you have your Timberwolves going into the postseason here? Now, I know a lot of us are kind of waiting to see if Giannis is going to be able to go. Shams from The Athletic yesterday saying there's some serious doubt on whether Giannis will be able to go in game one. They mentioned game one, so I don't know if it's just kind of game one they're looking at, or maybe the first few games of this series. But there is reportedly some doubt whether he'll be ready to go. He is trying to rehab and get going here, and we know Giannis has defied some odds before. But yeah, if Giannis, let's say, misses a couple of games in this series against the Pacers, the Bucks win without him. Can they win without him? Do you think they can? Got confidence in that? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. So we'll talk some hoops, talk some Bucks. We got Brewers last night falling to the Padres 7-3. Brewers jumped out to an early 3-0 lead through 2 innings. It looked like in the first inning they were going to be able to rack up more than just one run there, but just three in the first couple frames, and that was it. And then it was a fifth inning, a weird fifth inning, where the Padres scored 6 runs in the fifth inning, but it was like just singles. It was, wild pitches. Wasn't any extra base hits in that fifth inning, where the Padres were able to put up 6 runs and even a couple of infield hits there too. So kind of a weird inning there, but hey, it doesn't matter as long as they were just moving station to station last night and able to put up that nice six burger over there. And Brewers not able to claw their way back. Although in the ninth, they did have bases loaded there with a chance to tie it, but Sal Frelick flying out to end the game there. So Jackson Cheerio did hit another home run, his third of the season. Here's your little fun nugget: his third home run, and is the third youngest player since 1900 with at least 3 home runs in his first 13 career games. Think about that. So Jackson Cheerio still etching his name in some record books over there. Contreras extended his hitting streak, 11 games there. He collected a couple hits. William Contreras right now, his average is up to a 390 with an OPS of a 1.140. Damas continuing to hit well too. He collected another hit, took a couple walks, 317, 921 OPS. Christian Yelich, we should know perhaps today whether the Brewers are going to put him on the injured list again due to a back issue. He's been missing the last few games here. So Pat Murphy saying before the game yesterday that they'll have to make a decision here. And I'm sure once he gets put on the IL, it'll probably be retroactive, back a few days there. But it sounds like it's kind of the same. He's feeling the same as he was just a few days ago. So on one hand, at least it's not getting worse, but on the other hand, maybe sounds like it's not necessarily improving that much. So Brewers, first time this season though, they've lost back-to-back games, going back to Sunday's loss against Baltimore, against former friend at Corbin Burns, and it looked like Brewers are going to jump out. Contreras hitting that home run, jumping out to an early lead there too, but not able to hold on. But the first time the Brewers have lost back-to-back games, so they'll try again tonight. Wayne Miley getting his second start of the season. We'll see if they can extend him a little bit more, or if he's going to be kind of on, maybe a little bit of restrict innings, pitching, or number of pitches or anything like that. So, but that game 6:40 tonight before the series finale tomorrow at 12:10. Then the Brewers finally get an off day coming up on the 18th. Although they did have that rain out last week too, so he got a little bit of an off day there last Thursday. So, but then they begin another road trip with a weekend series against the Cardinals, and then 4 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Then home here for a little bit. Got a couple AL East teams on the docket there with the Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. So we'll talk some baseball throughout the morning here. Going to talk some green and gold. The Packers, day one of off-season workouts. Packers reporting yesterday. Now, there wasn't an official list or anything like that, but you can kind of look at some photos to see who showed up and such. And I don't know if it's of note or if it's a big deal. Probably not, but considering maybe what happened last year, he didn't show up to voluntary workouts. Then, kind of, how the season went. Jair Alexander did show up yesterday. So, again, probably much ado about nothing. But considering last year he didn't show up to any of those, and then what happened during the season towards the end there, Jair Alexander was at voluntary workouts yesterday for the Pack. Was caught by, that's where you kinda have to go, like, to Packers.com and look at the photos and see who was there or see some of the videos that they posted up and such, so, but Jair was there, so take it for what it's worth. But while the players and, the coaches get some on-field work done, the front office and the scouting department starting to finalize their draft board, finalizing some visits with prospective prospects and all that fun stuff. Our good friend, Rob Domofsky, who covers the Pack for ESPN, said the other day he was on Wilde and Tausch just a few days ago, kind of dropping a little bit of this nugget here about Zach Tom, saying that the Packers believe he could be a Pro Bowl right tackle. They believe he can be a all-pro guard, but they believe he could be a Hall of Fame center. So, that's something we've been talking about off and on when we've been kind of previewing some potential draft prospects and looking at the offensive line. And a lot of it, as we've said numerous times, it's kind of a trickle-down effect. Where do you put Zach Tom if you draft a tackle? Is it a right tackle? Do you go with Walker at left tackle? And if you put that rookie at right tackle, does that mean Zach Tom moves to guard, center? Where do you put him? So if what Rob is saying is true, and I got no doubt that there's a little smoke to that. We saw it a little bit last year, right? In spring or see, I keep wanting to call it spring training, preseason or training camp. Packers are giving some reps to Zach Tom with the ones at center. But if the plan is to move Zach Tom to center this year, and they still got Josh Myers, but I kind of wonder, depending maybe on how the draft board falls here a little bit for the Pack, we could see Zach Tom move to center this year, and then maybe, just maybe, they kind of hyper focus on one of those tackles in the upcoming draft in the first round, whether it's a guy, and there's a few options of guys who can play right tackle, left tackle in the first round. Could it be a situation where, if they decide to draft a tackle and start him out at right tackle, but maybe, they'll see how the Walker situation goes over at left tackle, and maybe eventually they move over to left tackle. It's kind of similar to Brian Bulaga, I think they originally had a vision of maybe moving him over to left, and we know they tried to do that. Was at 13, and when he tore his ACL at family night, then in steps in a gentleman by the name of David Bakhtiari, and that worked out fairly well. But thought it was kind of an interesting nugget to kind of see that breakdown there from Rob. And does that tell us? Could that tell us maybe a little bit of where Green Bay's kind of looking at with that first round pick? There's no doubt. I think we all know that Green Bay is going to look at this draft and come away with at least a few offensive linemen. But how early and how often will they do that in the early rounds of the draft? Because you look at the depth. Myers is in his final year. You got Sean Ryan, who right now is slated to be starting right guard. Walker. I mean, again, the only for sures that we know in this starting lineup is Elton Jenkins at left guard and Zach Tom somewhere. And is that somewhere going to be the starting center for as soon as this year? And do you move Myers over to right guard or something like that for the I don't know. Matt LaFleur, 5 best will play, right? 5 best will play. So we'll we'll chat a little football coming up here too with the draft starting next week, just a week and some change coming up over here. So we'll hit that up. We've got ASAP Used Auto Parts, Grind My Gears Tuesday. Also, who cut, didn't cut the mustard. Make your picks. You can always hit us up with some texts at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. We'll catch up with RJ Cardinal coming up in a couple hours from now. Do some Badger chat with him. Nick Evers, the quarterback. He is now in the transfer portal. So add another Badger over there. Got some defensive players going in the transfer portal too. Just days after spring ball practice and such. So we'll chat with RJ Cardinal, get the latest on some of the Badger players who are leaving via the transfer portal from the Badger football team. So that'll be coming up in a couple hours from now. So let's get things rolling here this morning, though. We'll get things started off. We'll throw some Brewers chat in there. We got some Bucks, and of course we'll talk a little green and gold too as we approach the NFL draft starting next week. Next week, so plenty to get to here. Send me your prediction for the NBA playoff playing games start tonight. Send me your Bucks predictions going up against the Indiana Pacers in the first round. Their first game coming up this weekend. We don't know if Giannis is going to play or not. But playing games tonight is all Western Conference. Lakers taking on the Pelicans in a rematch from Sunday. We got Golden State taking on Sacramento. So we'll talk some hoops and some baseball to open up things this morning. Quick break. Then the leadoff coming up after these quick words. Since I was out yesterday, again, I want to give a big thanks to everybody who stopped by Hy-Vee on Friday for the second annual Carpet City Flooring Center Putting Challenge. Big, big, big thanks for everybody stopping by and participating. Huge thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center for hosting again and for the donations we made. We raised about $1,200, and a lot of you too just making a donation to Backyard Dreams, which is absolutely wonderful. Based off the made putts, we made over $800. So again, big thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center. They're donating $25 for each made putt, and then the prizes too. The Callaway driver over there, and I gotta plug in the audio for the video stream over here. And plus, prizes like the Callaway driver, the Odyssey putter, some holes, rounds of golf over there too. We're gonna announce those winners tomorrow. Okay, the winners are coming at you tomorrow. So even if you didn't make a putt, remember you got to enter to win. So you potentially could still win. But we got a golf bag too, Titleist golf bag donated by Hy-Vee, and we got some Brewers and Yankees tickets to be given away. So lots of prizes that we're going to be giving away here. Make sure you're tuning in tomorrow. Keep you posted on the time, and then we'll post it up there too. We'll get a hold of you if you won. But again, big thanks. Mike Star Market donated some giveaways to and company. We gave away some hats and such. So it was a lot of fun Friday, and big thanks for everybody for stopping by and helping support Backyard Dreams and taking your shot at the putting challenge. It was a lot of fun. All right, let's get things rolling here this morning. Let's talk some hoops, talk some baseball over here too. Brewers last night falling to the Padres 7-3. Brewers jumped out to a early 3-0 lead. Looked like they could have tacked on some more in the first. Their bases loaded and such, but nonetheless, the Brewers, Bryce Terang, get it grounding into a double play there. Then they're able to tack on a couple more in a second. But that was it. After that, that was it. And it was a weird fifth inning, kind of a weird fifth inning because Padres put up 6 runs, but it was no extra base hits. It was all singles, had some wild pitches in there, some defensive miscues, catcher interference, such. But nonetheless, it was kind of a weird inning there. Hey, give credit to the Padres; they were just moving station to station. They capitalized on that. They were going after Joe Ross there, and that's all the Padres needed. Well, plus the 1 run in the fourth to secure that victory. Brewers had a chance in the ninth there, bases loaded. Sal Frelick up at the plate, grand slam obviously would tie it, but to no avail. Flew out there. So Joe Ross picking up his first loss of the season. His final line, 4 2/3, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, and a couple of walks over there too. So Brewers tried again today with Wade Miley on the mound. I think the big thing for tonight's game is going to see what's the plan for Wade Miley. They're going to try to stretch it out a little bit more from his previous starts, or is this going to be kind of the game plan for Wade Miley, going forward and maybe for the big portion of the season? It's going to be a guy that you might throw out there for 4 innings and then you go to the bullpen. Is it going to be almost a kind of a piggyback type of starts thing here? So I think that's going to be a big thing to watch for tonight for Wade Miley. And looking at the lineup here, Machado's had some decent success against him. 19 at bats, couple home runs, sitting 316 against him, 1.12 OPS, and Profar's 12 at bats, 417, 1.033. Bogarts is 18 at bats, 333, 956 OPS. So I mean, a couple of your bigger name players, main players, focal players for the Padres. They've had some good success against him. Tatis has only had a couple at bats against him, so but then you got Cease going over there on the opposite side of the Padres. Not a ton of experience or at bats going up against the crew here. So, but he's 1-1, 2.16 ERA, and 20 Ks. Jackson Cheerio last night. I mean, just continues to kind of add his name to the record books, if you will, or to I should say history books. That might be a more of an accurate, representation there. But, Jackson Cheerio last night with another home run, his 3rd of the season, and, one of these little fun nuggets when it comes to Jackson Cheerio, I got a couple of them here, but one of them, he is the 3rd youngest player since 1900 with at least 3 home runs in his first 13 career games. Um, looking at, the other 2 that are ahead of him, Andrew Jones, 1995, the Andrew Jones from the Atlanta Braves, and then the other one, I'll bring it up, where did it go? Because you gotta go back, a little bit earlier. This was from, Sarah Lang. Here we go. 1958, Lou Limach. So, Andrew Jones in 1996, by the way, he had 4 home runs through 13 games. Also, Jackson Cheerio, youngest Major League Baseball player since Robin Yount with 3 homers in 13 games. So, youngest since Robin Yount, but 3rd youngest overall, believe it or not. So, yeah, 20 years, as Sarah Lang says, at 20 years and 35 days old, Jackson Cheerio, 3rd youngest player since 1900 with at least 3 home runs in his first 13 career games. Not bad. Just continues to add his name a little bit more to the history books there. But William Contreras, let's chat a little bit about William Contreras and the run that he is on right now for this Brewers team. 11-game hitting streak, couple more hits for him last night. And I mean, the start that he is on last year, Silver Slugger winner. Right now, I know it's still really early in the season, but he looks like he's going to be easily on pace right now, maybe to repeat as that winner. Again, a lot of ball game to be played, a lot of season to be played here yet. But you look at what he's been able to do in the early parts of this season, hitting 390 right now. His OPS is at a 1.140. He's got 4 home runs on the season, 15 RBIs. 3 games in a row now. He's collected, multiple hits, at least 2 hits. As we said, he's on that 11-game hitting streak right now, and this is a man. This is a guy that wants to play every single day. Brewers aren't gonna allow him to catch every single day, but, even he wants to catch every single day. Games he's not, right now, the way he's hitting, you probably wanna keep him in at DH. I mean, you don't wanna sit him. He's making it hard for the Brewers to kind of force him to sit down with the way he's playing right now, for crying out loud. Can't take this bat out of the lineup. I mean, with that 390 average and an OPS of a 1.140, that's insane. He's off to a fantastic start so far, and even last night in his couple of hits, had a couple hits, but he also took 2 walks. He's consistently getting on base at the top of the order there. You know, on Sunday, what, he bats leadoff and jacks a home run against Corbin Burns. So just a fantastic start to the season for Contreras, and a lot of these guys, we've been talking about a lot of these guys in the first week or so offensively, right? Some offensive numbers. Brewers putting up a lot of hits and the averages and up there. And Bryce Terang, we've talked about Christian Yelich with the power. Willie Adames is off to a good start offensively. But William Contreras is probably right now been the most consistent and maybe the best. I mean, some of the numbers he's putting up is ridiculous, especially for a guy who's playing at that catching spot. Contreras currently is 5th in all of Major League Baseball in OPS. Number 1 as a catcher. He's 2nd in Major League Baseball in average. Only Jose Altuve has a higher average than him, and right now Altuve is currently hitting 403. He's off to a great start. Will Smith is not far behind him. He's looking at catchers here. Will Smith from the Dodgers, 369 right now. But in terms of home runs, you're looking at the home run ball leaders. You got a few sitting there at 7. But with catcher, it looks like Contreras is leading the majors from the catching position in home runs with 4. So, I mean, you look at all these numbers, and Contreras is one of the best offensive players, not just in the National League, but in the entire majors. He's got the 7th most RBIs, easily number 1 at catcher. I should say he's tied at catcher with Perez from Kansas City and Will Smith from the Dodgers. But, spring training at the end of spring training, Pat Murphy said he believed Contreras could be the best catcher in the National League. Right now, Contreras has proven that, and not just the National League, but perhaps all across Major League Baseball. So for a guy who wants to play every single game, 162 games, wants to have kind of that old school mentality, to play in every game, to catch every game. The Brewers aren't going to do that, but at least he's forcing them right now with his play. Like, okay, you're not going to let me catch 162 games the way I'm hitting. You cannot have me at least DH. At this point, and at this rate, Contreras' off days might just be his DH days. You can't take this bat out of the lineup. There's no way. I get it. You might want a little R&R, rest and relaxation, that, but man, 11 game hitting streak right now, 3 games in a row where he's hit at least a couple. Last night was on base 4 times. Keep the man in the lineup. Keep him there. Christian Yelich, just a quick update on him. He's missed his last couple of games, last few games here. Pat Murphy saying before the game yesterday that a decision's probably going to be made today surrounding whether Christian Yelich will be on the injured list. But this was his 3rd straight game, and this was from Sophia Minner, that Pat Murphy said he's feeling about the same with the back injury. Team will have to decide uh, tomorrow, which is now today, on an IL stint. So, if he is put on the IL, I would imagine it's going to be retroactive back to April 12th with that, or April 12th was the game he left, so maybe the next day after that, retroactive to that. So I would imagine if he's still feeling the same right now, that it probably will be an IL stint. But apparently now he's taking some medication that they hope will help. So don't know if that's just some inflammatory ibuprofen, whatever the heck it is, but kind of a downer with the way that Christian Yelich began the season, especially with the power that he was displaying, and yeah, now that back issue popping up again here. But I mean, you're looking at some of his numbers and comparing it to 18 and 19. His OPS and his averages and his home run balls were up there. This was from back on the 10th, but I saw this graphic and I saved it. But 2018, his MVP year, he was hitting 382, OPS of a 1.076, just 1 home run and 6 RBIs. 2019, 333, 1.294 OPS, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. And this year in his first 8 games at that point, 324, 1.116, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. So you can see why a lot of people were kind of coming up with that same comparison or comparing start this year to those years in 2018 and 2019. So, first pitch tonight for the Crew, same time as last night, 6:40, 6:40. So we'll see if the Crew can end their 2-game losing streak. First time they've lost back-to-back games all season long, but it'll be a tough one tonight. We'll see if they can get that and with a shot to win another series tomorrow against the Padres. That first pitch around 12:10. So, all right, let's take a quick break here. We'll talk some hoops. Bucks, where the odds makers have them winning a title this year. Might be surprised at some of the odds right now, maybe in a good way, or maybe you're thinking, what are they thinking? But Giannis, what's the latest on him? Is he going to be able to go on Sunday? We'll tell you what the rumblings are, the rumors are out there, and give me your predictions. How far do you think the Bucks are going to go this postseason, and can they win a series? with the Pacers, with Giannis maybe missing a couple games in this series. Do you think if he misses, let's say the first 2, can the Bucks still win this series if they're without Giannis the first couple of games? Hit me up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll take a break and we'll finish up the second hour coming up after these quick words. Are you hitting the road a lot lately or getting ready to? Well, you better make sure your vehicle is ready to put on all those miles, which means it's a good idea to get some new tires and get an oil change to help your vehicle perform at its best this upcoming traveling season. Where to go, though? That's simple. ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Not only does ASAP Used Auto Parts have high quality used auto parts to help your budget, but they are also your go to place when it comes to oil changes and new tires. So make sure your vehicle is ready to hit the road for another traveling season. Set up your appointment with ASAP Used Auto Parts today and have a safe and fun traveling season. Bucks, they don't have to travel for their first round series, even though they are the 3 seed after falling on Sunday to the Magic and the Knicks winning in overtime against the Bulls. So Knicks the 2 seed, Bucks falling down to 3 seed, where they will take on the Indiana Pacers. Pacers taking 4 out of 5 against the Bucks this year. Right now, though, if you're betting odds, Boston is the clear favorite. Denver's behind them. So Boston right now, I'm looking at FanDuel Sportsbook. Boston's at a plus 165. Then you got Denver at plus 300. And then the Bucks and Clippers are tied for the third best odds. And there's quite a bit of a jump, though. They're both at plus 1,400. 1,400. In case you're wondering who's after that, OKC's at a plus 1,600, tied with Philly. Then it's Dallas at plus 17. And then the Timberwolves plus 19. So, Bucks right now, according to the betting lines, tied for the third best odds to win an NBA championship. But I I don't know of a lot of Bucks fans who are probably agreeing with that at this point in time. And I think obviously the biggest unknown right now is going to be Giannis, right? Whether he's going to be healthy enough to go. And can the Bucks afford, when I say afford, let's say he doesn't play the first couple games, and what if they fall those first couple games against the Pacers? Can they come back and win it? And I know some people are gonna say, well, they did against the Suns in the NBA finals and such. And maybe they could. But the biggest thing that I think for this Bucks team, or the biggest worry, concern outside of Giannis's health, is gonna be this Bucks defense going up against this Pacers fast offense. Pacers, we know, remember the early parts of the season, we're watching these teams. I mean, what was it, the mid-season tournament? All the talk was, man, these 2 teams, 2 highest scoring offenses. There's gonna be a boatload of scoring in that. There's, like, no defensive play. But now, and when you look at it in terms of, offensive leaders and points per game, Indiana's number 1. They're number 1 in scoring. Do the Bucks have enough defense? Have they made enough improvement under Doc Rivers defensively? Have they made enough improvements to try to slow down? I don't think you can necessarily stop them, but slow them down enough to win this series, especially in transition. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, that's gotta be a focus. This is probably a series that, yeah, probably would like Drew Holiday and his defensive play to you know, try to slow down Tyrese Halliburton. I'll be interested, is Dame gonna be that guy? Are they gonna put Patrick Beverly, and Tyrese Halliburton to try to maybe frustrate him and try to, slow him down, maybe just a little bit there? Now we know Indiana, defensively, one of the worst in terms of points allowed per game. They're 4th worst, 120.2. Bucks finished the season 21st in the league. So Indiana's 27th, 21st in points allowed. So the Bucks they've gotten a little bit better, but is it enough? Especially with the prospect of Giannis maybe not playing in the first couple games of this series, or just the unknown health regarding him. And when you look at Giannis and what he has done against the Pacers this year, in 5 games against the Pacers, Giannis averaged 42.2 points per game and 13 rebounds in those 5 games against the Pacers. So, yeah, having Giannis in that game in this series, having him ready to go, kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. He has dominated against them, and a lot of it is because, I mean, let's face it, shootouts, right? They've been in a lot of shootouts, and you look at some of these games, I mean, the last game that we saw them play was back on, the 3rd? Yeah, January 3rd. 142, 130, Pacers victory. New Year's Day, Pacers 122, Bucks 113. Game 3 back in December, December 13th, Bucks, that was their lone win, 140 to 126. So Bucks and Pacers haven't played against each other since the beginning of January. Some things have changed, but is it enough to kind of ease it on into the Bucks' favor? Milwaukee originally opened up as 3.5 point favorites here, is now down to 1.5. And I think it's because of the unknown about Giannis and whether he's gonna be able to go or not. And we'll have the rest of the week to really kind of break down this game and kinda take a look at it, but yeah, if Giannis doesn't play, gotta be Dame time. Gotta be that guy that can carry it. Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, those guys offensively have got to really, really step up. G-Man says the Bucks will win the series, and he's got the Bucks in the finals against JR's Wolves, because of course he does. Brewers will win tonight 6-2, and they will win the series. Josh thinks the Bucks are going to get swept by the Pacers. Plain T, good morning, DK. Plain T nailed the putt last Friday. Do you know what your plans are yet for the draft? Next Thursday, are you going to do a live stream where others can join? Yeah, I'm not going to be posted up anywhere. I'm going to be watching it from home because, for one, Hutsy wants to watch the draft this year. And since I won't be home next year for the draft, I'm going to spend some time with him. However, we will do a chat. So if you are a part of our Man Cave Conversations Facebook group, we're going to do a live chat throughout the draft there. So just to kind of, talk back and forth, talk about the picks and all that. So it's a live chat throughout the first round. We'll have that up. So if you're not a member of the Facebook group page, or you know some people who should be a part of that and join in our chat, make sure you put it up. It is a private Facebook group, so you got to be approved in that. Keep the riff draft out of there. So look it up, Man Cave Conversations over there. So. But no, I'm gonna hang out with Hutzy because he really wants to watch it. He was mad that I wasn't around last year to watch it with him. So, and I won't be around next year to watch it. So, gonna watch it with the kiddo this year. Well, speaking of the draft, we'll talk a little pack coming up next hour. Want to talk about the nugget that Rob Demovsky, our good buddy from ESPN, dropped about the Packers last week when he was on Wilde and Tausch about Zach Tom. Zach Tom. The Packers view him as a potential Hall of Fame center. And if so, could we see Zach Tom at that center position as soon as this year? What does that mean for Josh Myers? But maybe more importantly, what does that mean for the Packers draft plans coming up next week? If the Packers really view Zach Tom as a Hall of Fame caliber center, I mean, I think they should make that move now, put him over there, and start that Hall of Fame career. And then you really have to look at the draft because, okay, you don't have a right tackle. Yash is gone. Walker, are you ready to hand over the starting reins full time for him this year? And then who's your backups? You got Caleb Jones and such, but tackle then all of a sudden becomes a bigger need. It was already a need, but it already becomes a bigger need at this point. So does that kind of maybe tip the hand here a little bit for for the Packers in terms of where they maybe go in the first round. Offensive lineman. There's a few tackles in that first round that have experience playing right tackle and left tackle. So we know the Packers, they like their offensive linemen to have a little versatility. Would they maybe look at getting a tackle and starting them off at right tackle and see how it goes with Walker, with maybe the potential of moving that guy over to left tackle, or I don't know. So we'll hit that up coming up here in just a little bit, coming up in the next hour or so. Yeah, next hour. We'll get to that. Don't forget, it is also who didn't cut the mustard. Send us your picks. We'll hit that up just past 7 o'clock. Also, it is Grind My Gears Tuesday. What's grinding your gears? Text us. Get it off your chest at 715-830-1912. Okay. What's grinding your gears here? Got some good ones. We got a couple good ones. It looks like that already came through here on the texting line and such. So we'll get to those probably just past 8 o'clock here because we'll get to that right before we talk to RJ Cardinal, catch up on a lot of Badger stuff with him. Nick Evers, the quarterback, remember he transferred originally from Oklahoma to Wisconsin. Now Nick Evers is entering the transfer portal, leaving Wisconsin. So plus some defensive players also leaving Wisconsin. So we'll get the latest from RJ Cardinal on that coming up at about 8:20 or so. We'll finish up with Morgan. Good morning, Morgs.
Hey, how's Casper today?
Good. How are you?
Is that a new hat I see?
Is it?
You got your golf swing on there?
Yeah.
Custom? Where'd you get that?
Our good friends at Resonance Branding Company.
Very nice.
Yeah.
For the Open?
For the Open, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Anything on the back? What does it say on the back?
No?
Good. That's a nice silhouette hat. Available to the public, or is that your own lucky hat that you're going to take out on the course this year?
Well, a few people got. We handed them out on Friday, and one of them went to the Blue Gold AD because he's a big time golfer.
Oh, good.
And he's like, "Oh, that's sweet looking hat, that silhouette and all that." I said, "Do you know who that is?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Well, that's me." And then he kind of paused, like, "Oh."
Said he give it back?
No, he didn't give it back.
Should give it back.
No. He said I had a good form, and that he's a guy who's he's got 2 hole-in-ones. I only got 1.
Okay. So, is this going to be the year that you add another to that tally? No. You're not feeling the hole-in-one luck this year?
No.
So everything.
You know what Hudson asked me the other day?
Tell me.
He's like, "Dad, have you ever hit a hole-in-one?" I'm like, "Dude, that's what that little trophy is downstairs."
Oh, did you sit him there and did you go through the whole thing?
No, he thought that was a trophy from Tiger Woods.
Okay. So comparable skill between you and Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. My sister and I growing up, we would have this thing with my dad where we would want to know something, but then we would say, well, if we ask, he's probably going to tell us, which meant we would be in for like a long story. That's what you should start doing with Hudson when he asks. All right, come down. Let me show you the trophy. Let's start. It was a dark and stormy night way back at the beginning of the story. Yeah. So at the end of the day, did he believe that it was your hole-in-one, or is he sticking with Tiger?
No, he's like, "Is it the one that's broke?" I said, "Yeah, it's the one that's broken. It's got like hot glue all over it."
Okay. Gotcha. It's kind of similar. Siggy's starting her own trophy legacy. She broke a bat doing some softball swinging. So I thought, okay, well, there it goes. You know, she's kind of bummed. First time she broke a bat, but she wants to keep it. She said, "Mom, I'm putting it up in my room."
Yep.
So now
she's
too. Yeah. Do you have any broken bats around the trophy case
too? I never hit the ball that hard.
Because we have the beer drinking trophy in here, but what's the piece de resistance? What's the piece to rule them all in your own man cave? What's the trophy that you would take strangers down to sit and regale a story about?
I don't know if I have that.
Still yet to come.
I used to have an arrow that I Robin Hood.
Oh yeah,
shooting bow.
And it, like right to the bullseye.
Well, no, like split the arrow.
Oh, like a Robin Hood style.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a good piece of history.
I don't know where that went. It might be in the garage. I don't know.
Well, your Tuesday Tesla, I know you guys are ready to grind some gears, but before that, we're going to get Casper warmed up with some simple, non-consequential questions. Or not. Maybe this will be better. Speaking of trophies, what's the worst argument you've ever been in? If you had a trophy for the worst argument you've ever been in, what would have been the topic around it? You could say, keep it in the sports world. It doesn't have to get into like personal stuff, obviously, but sports related argument.
I mean, the one that still comes up all the time was, I was watching a Packers game, 2013.
Okay. Set the stage, 2013.
Yeah, Packers. It was like the 3rd game of the season. It was against the Saints.
Okay.
Because it was one of those years when they started off slow.
Uh-huh.
And They were getting ready to score. It was at the goal line, but then Aaron had to come out. He got like poked in the eye.
Okay.
And I think it was Graham Harrell or Matt Flynn. I don't know who it was, but I literally said, "You have one job. Don't fumble.
Okay.
Don't fumble the snap."
And
He fumbled the snap.
right. So
I had. This is the cottage cheese story,
oh, that's
and I
right.
threw it across the room, or I hit it across the table because I was right, and they did it. Cottage cheese went in Veronica's hair.
Mhm.
She got mad, and I argued with her that she overreacted.
She overreacted about the cottage cheese
Yeah,
that you
because
threw.
she had to go shower and get it out and all that.
My hands in the air. Call on me on behalf of everybody. What the heck kind of tailgate game food is cottage cheese?
I was on a health kick.
Brats, guys. Brats and beer, right? Am I
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Second hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning of April 16th. Thanks for tuning in, wherever, however you're tuning in from, or tuning in from wherever. Coming up, we're going to talk some football here as we inch a little bit closer to the NFL draft next week. And talk a little bit about the offensive line here. We'll get back to some more baseball and hoops chat, but continue to send me your Bucks predictions and your NBA playoffs, NBA Finals predictions over there by texting me at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. By the way, just got confirmation too. Tomorrow at 7:30, we will announce the winners from the Carpet City Flooring Center putting challenge that we had on Friday. So tune in around 7:30 when we announce the winners, random drawings for those winners to live on the air, baby. All right, let's do some who cut and didn't cut the mustard. I'm gonna go. I got a couple here for who cut the mustard, really quick before we get to some football talk here. But who cut the mustard? I gotta go Scotty Scheffler for winning the Masters. He was the favorite heading in. He was pretty much the majority of people's picks for that. Also made some, headlines. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but made some news too. I mean, his wife was pregnant with their first child, and, he said too that he would withdraw from the Masters if she went into labor. So, not only do you have that on your mind, with your wife pregnant, could go into labor at any minute. You're playing in the Masters. You're competing in the you're in contention in the Masters, and you go out there and you get your second green jacket in the last couple of years there. Scotty Scheffler definitely he cut the mustard. Yeah, he definitely did. And then I'm gonna go for my other one to the NHL world. Give a little shout out to Connor McDavid. He became the 4th player in NHL history with 100 assists in a season. Just the 4th in history to hit the triple digit mark. Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Bobby Orr are the only other NHL players to eclipse 100 assists in a season. Pretty darn good company to join over there. So, those are who cut my mustard. Who didn't or what didn't cut the mustard for me? I'm going a couple different routes on this one because I don't know if it's true yet. So, there is a rumor, and it's getting a little bit louder that Rory McIlroy might be going to the Live Tour. There it was reported or thrown out there from City AM. It is a source. City AM said 2 separate sources have told City AM that they believe a deal is close. It is claimed that Live Golf has offered Rory McIlroy $850 million to join, plus around 2% equity in the competition. By far would be the biggest signing. Now there's also another report from the Daily Mail that says Rory McIlroy will not be joining Live Golf after reports had claimed that he was close to agreeing to this. So I don't know what's true, what's fake and all that, but if this was, I mean, Rory McIlroy has been the biggest and player representative against the Live Tour. I mean, he has been at the forefront of this. He has been the face. Can you imagine if he would have jumped ship? I mean, I don't doubt the fact that he probably got offered around $850 million to join. I wouldn't be surprised by that. That's a big chunk of change. But we heard reports too of like how much they offered Tiger initially. But this doesn't cut the mustard because this is right after the Masters. Whoever started this, if this is true, if it's not true, it's just like, boy, timing of that is just not great. And now he's gonna have to I think he's playing at the Heritage, this weekend, so, he'll be asked about it for sure. He'll be asked about it, but, man, that would've been a heck of a story if this ends up being true or whatnot. So, those are, what cut and didn't cut my mustard. What's yours? It's kinda if you're not familiar with this, it's like studs and duds, alright? There stories, there somebody, is there a team that's a stud that you put on there from the past few days? And what would you say is a dud? All right. Hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little green and gold here with the NFL draft. Day one next Thursday, day two, my favorite day of the draft, day two next Friday. But the draft kicks off next week. We're going to talk a little bit about the offensive line. Now, I know we've done our draft preview series where we've talked about, we've highlighted some players that could potentially be a Packers target with their 25th overall pick. We've highlighted, Cooper DeJean. We've highlighted some offensive linemen. We've highlighted some corners, Kool-Aid McKinstry, all that stuff. We've gone through that. But I kind of want to really focus on the offensive line here, and we've touched on some individual offensive linemen, but our good buddy, Rob Demovsky, who friend of the show, Rob Demovsky from ESPN, the other day on Wilde and Tausch dropped, this nugget about Zach Tom. Said, Packers, paraphrasing here, but Packers view him as a Pro Bowl right tackle, as an all-pro guard, potential Hall of Fame center. So, is now the time to move Zach Tom to center, even though you got Josh Myers for another year, but is now the time to move Zach Tom to center? And if that's the case, does that tip the hand a little bit regarding what the Packers may do in this draft? So we're gonna kind of look at some offensive linemen here, some potential offensive linemen that maybe the Packers could look at with that first round pick at number 25. And is there a guy that maybe they could even move up a couple spots for? Because if Zach Tom does move to center, tackle was already a question mark, becomes a bigger question mark now. Walker's probably the leader right now at left tackle. After that, kinda maybe question some depth. Yes, Caleb Jones and such is over there. But then who's at right tackle? Who's the swing tackle? No more Yash. He's in Carolina. So let's talk a little NFL draft here as we are inching closer and closer to next week. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We know Carpet City Flooring Center is your go-to place for all of your flooring needs, like carpet, tile, and luxury vinyl planks. But here's a few things that separate Carpet City Flooring Center from the rest. They don't just have flooring options. Are you looking for a backsplash in your kitchen or improvements to your shower? Hey, they got that. And they're not just a place you go to buy the product and then you're stuck finding someone to install it for you. Carpet City Flooring Center will set you up with an amazing install team to get your new floor put in for you. So if you're a current homeowner and you want to do a little remodeling in the bathroom, living room, or any space in your home, make Carpet City Flooring Center your only stop. They'll help you find what would look amazing in your home, function the best, and work with you on what fits in your budget. They want to be on your team and be your teammate for your home remodeling projects. They want to help make your home something to be proud of. So whether it's a new floor you're looking at getting or a backsplash in that kitchen, stop on in and chat with the awesome Carpet City Flooring Center family at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire.
A lot of folks around here are breathing easier because of Grace Home Respiratory. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory is a local company that puts customer service first. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory provides an array of medical equipment, services, and supplies to help their recovery and enhance their quality of life. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory has the experience and qualifications that exceed their expectations. So when you need home medical equipment and services, turn to Grace Home Respiratory not only for the equipment you need, but for their dedicated staff of respiratory therapists who are on call 24 hours a day. To find out more, call Grace Home Respiratory at 715-832-7377 or online at ghr-ec.com.
Grace Home Respiratory always has your health and safety as their top priority. Your expert when it comes to medical equipment and supplies. Choose Grace Home Respiratory.
This update is sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Every Brewers regular season Friday home game at American Family Field, ticketed fans 21 and over who sit in the Miller Lite beer pen in the left field lounge bleachers will receive a free Brewers can holder courtesy of Miller Lite. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan at an amazing price with no contracts. Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely. Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate without a pay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after your terms apply. See website for data management practices.
Progressive asks, what to an escaped leopard?
We're live from the zoo where a leopard has escaped.
A growling stomach, an uneaten tuna sandwich, and a backdoor doggy door have in common? They can lead to an unexpected kitchen renovation.
Yeah, hi. Is this the zoo? Your leopard is in my kitchen.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
If you're looking for a step up and a great career, then apply at American Materials. They're looking for ready mix concrete drivers. You're home every night, great compensation, and you're making a difference. Full-time seasonal positions are available right now. Hey, Curtis, what else should people know about American Materials?
I like working for American Materials because I'm home nightly. It's great pay. You work along with and build great relationships with customers. You must be 18 years old and be able to acquire a Class B CDL automatic for this position, as well as you'll be delivering concrete to residential and commercial sites with an updated and well-maintained mixer. Great benefits too, profit sharing and a great 401k plan.
Apply now for ready mix concrete drivers at American Materials, earning up to $34 an hour with paid vacation and 401k matches, and newly added paid sick time and upgraded pay package and paid time off. AmericanMaterials.com/careers. Your job is different every day, making changes in our community and home every night and great benefits. AmericanMaterials.com/careers.
I'd like to get real with you for a moment. All across the country and even in our town, there are people who have to go without. Perhaps even you, having to go without being able to hear parts of the Dan Kasper Show. It's tragic, but there is help. You can listen to segments from Dan's show and new content on the Man Cave podcast. Check it out for yourself on your favorite podcasting platform.
We're getting ready for another busy travel season, vacations, taking our kids to all their games, activities, and events. And you need a proper vehicle to get you where you're going and safely. That's where Toyson Ford can help you out. Toyson Ford will go the extra mile to provide you with compelling options for new and used car shopping. They work with you on financing no matter what your budget may be. They're committed to giving drivers across the Chippewa Valley the best in customer service. Check them out for yourself. Just visit Toyson Ford today at 1000 Chippewa Crossing Boulevard in Chippewa Falls, and just visit them online at toysonford.net. Toyson Ford, where you will find a friend. All right, let's talk a little football here this morning as we inch a little bit closer to the NFL draft. One of my favorites, if not the favorite time of year for me. I love the NFL draft, as you all know right now. Working on my 7-round Packers mock, and then my first round mock. Brandon and I are actually tomorrow going to be doing something fun for the Man Cave podcast. So, you know, all those draft simulators that you have out there. Brandon and I are actually going to do one together, but we're gonna do. I'll do a Packers one, and he's gonna do his Vikings one over there. So we're gonna use the simulator for that as part of an episode of the Man Cave podcast coming at you tomorrow. So, but my 7 round Packers mock will be next week, and my first round mock will be next week over there too. But you're starting to maybe get some more smoke screens, and teams are starting to wrap up their top 30 visits, going through the medicals, setting up their draft boards and all that good stuff here. And obviously, we know Green Bay is really going to kind of focus on offensive line. The question mark is how early will they address that? Will it be a day one pick? Will it be, maybe some day two picks? Really get some depth in day three there, rounds 4 through 7. And we've talked about individual offensive linemen for our draft prospect preview, kind of series. We did that the last couple of weeks here and such. But nonetheless, I think with our good buddy, what Rob Demoski from ESPN said the other day on Will Van Tausch, that they view Zach Tom as a Hall of Fame type of center. And that's kind of been the question mark is will Zach Tom eventually become the new starting center? Last year in training camp, we saw him getting some snaps with the ones in practice. Got a little bit, maybe for a little bit, it seemed like maybe a little bit of a battle with Josh Myers. Now, Josh Myers entering the final year of his rookie deal. Could the Packers make that move this year where they move Zach Tom to center, and then maybe it's a rookie over at right tackle? Or maybe it just all kind of depends on how the board falls for this year. Maybe if they don't get a tackle right away that they feel like could be a starter right away, maybe they keep Zach Tom at right tackle for another year and Myers at center. We know Elton's going to be at left guard. Right now, at least, it looks like Sean Ryan's going to be the other guard at right guard there. But when you look at if you're one of those that's maybe kind of looking at all the mock drafts that are out there from all these experts or non-experts like myself and such, you're looking at them, and there's quite a bit of offensive linemen that are mocked in the first round. Now, a guy like Joe Alt not going to go to Green Bay unless Green Bay really moves up, inside the top 10 somewhere, and they spend a lot to move up because that's the guy that they want. Then maybe, but he's got a good shot at being the first offensive lineman off the board. Kid from Notre Dame. Then you got some others that may be just around number 10, at least in the teams that Green Bay will probably still have to trade up for to get. Laga from Oregon State, he's up there. There's some saying maybe he could be the first one. He's going to be one of the top offensive linemen taken. You got the kid from Penn State as well up there. Fountain New from Washington. He's been projected as a potential top 15 pick. And then J.C. Latham, this Oak Creek from Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Oak Creek, Wisconsin, Alabama. I've seen him around 20, between 10 and 20. I gotta tell you, he's one that I'm kind of really intrigued with. Now, he played a lot of right tackle, majority of right tackle at Alabama. When he first started, he was a reserve guard in 2021. Started all 13 games at right tackle in 2022. Last year, started all games, 14 games at right tackle. So, I mean, if Green Bay is really looking at getting a right tackle, if they really believe that Walker is the guy at left tackle, that they saw enough from last year, and maybe they want to focus on a right tackle. I mean, J.C. Latham from Alabama, Oak Creek, Wisconsin native, might be a guy maybe worth moving up a few spots to get in the draft. I'll tell you the one that I really like that I think, though, that they might have to move up and get if they want him is the kid from Washington, Troy Fountain. That would be the one, Fountain. But again, they might have to move up and try to get him. And he's got a little bit of versatility. He's played left tackle mostly. He's got some starts at left guard. So got a little bit of that versatility there. And then, of course, you've got the Graham Bartons from Duke. Played left tackle at Duke. Literally started 2021. Actually, let's go back. 2020. Played his final 6 games with 5 starts at center. Then it was left tackle after that. 2021, 12 games at left tackle. 2022, 13 games at left tackle. 2023, 9 games at left tackle. Scouts, NFL personnel project him better as a guard or a center in the league because of little shorter arms. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Brian Balaga. Shorter arms. That was kind of his knock coming out of the draft, too. Ended up being a pretty darn good right tackle in the league for a long time. Now, could he be an option that you go over there and maybe you can play him at right tackle? Possibly. Some guys that you're paying attention a lot to the mock drafts. There's a couple of guys that have become really popular picks for Green Bay, but they're going to be maybe initially some projects. So do you start them right away, or are they kind of a reserve player? Initially, how Balaga first started. Remember, Balaga originally wasn't a starter as soon as he was drafted. Tauscher was still over there at right tackle. Then you had, Clifton at left tackle. Tauscher ended up getting hurt, and Brian Balaga steps in, and that's the rest of the story. But a couple of these guys that have been, as of late, especially a popular pick for the Packers is Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. Again, this kid's, you're talking a 6'8", 320 plus. He was the one, if you remember, when we did our position preview or prospect preview, excuse me, played a little H-back at TCU when he was at TCU. But in 2022, played some left tackle, played some right tackle, and he was playing right tackle with a left-handed quarterback. And then 2023, played some right tackle over there too. So, this is a guy that probably still needs a little bit more seasoning at the tackle position, but he's got a lot of talent. He's got the physical traits. So, but again, is he a guy that you would necessarily put in day one? There's maybe some question marks around that. Another guy that maybe has some question marks, would you put out there day one? And has been maybe the most popular guy I've seen mocked to Green Bay as of late, Amarius Mims from Georgia. You want to talk about a massive human being? Here you go. 6'8", 340 pounds. Okay. Now, if you have been to, let's say, training camp for the Packers, preseason or such, putting these heights into perspective, or maybe a little bit here. So we're talking about, Tyler and Mims here. Tyler, 6'8", 320. Think of Caleb Jones. Remember Caleb Jones, the offensive lineman for the Packers right now? He's 6'9", okay? He's 6'9", and he's listed at 370. That's a massive guy. Now you're talking about these guys coming in here too. But Mims, 6'8", 340, probably going to add a little bit more weight when he gets to the NFL here too. But this is a guy that doesn't have a lot of playing experience. Very limited in his playing experience. He's played at right tackle for the majority part of his career. 2022, played in 14 games with starts at right tackle. Last year, played in 7 games with 6 starts at right tackle. But he's got very limited action. But the potential is there. But with that limited action, with that limited college experience, would you be able to trust him? Some of these guys going out there day one as a starter, especially for a team, too, that's got higher expectations this year. It's got Super Bowl expectations this year. But it's gonna be interesting. Like, I wish I could just be a fly on the wall in these meetings at 1265 Lombardi Avenue and be like, just kinda listen in on these conversations and kinda wonder, "Okay, what's the plan?" Because I think it all starts with Zach Tom. Where do they want to put him? Where do they want to play him? If they view him as that potential Hall of Fame type of center, put the man over there. I get it. It's the 5 best. Matt LaFleur always says 5 best will play. 5 best will play. I understand that. I get it. But if Zach Tom is that, they really believe that he is the guy, the long-term starter over there. I think you gotta make that move, and I think you've gotta look at, okay, who's this next guy? Who's gonna be, that draft pick that could come in and we could plug in at right tackle, and maybe eventually he's a guy that swings over to our future left tackle if Walker doesn't work out. I believe Green Bay's gotta go into this draft with at least coming out of this draft with at least a couple of tackles for depth purposes. Some guy who could be your swing tackle coming off the bench, another one potentially being a starter for you this year too. Because, I mean, you look at some of the depth right now on this offensive line. Royce Newman is still on there, but, I mean, how many more chances is Royce Newman gonna get? He's a guard tackle. I know when he was first drafted, he was a tackle. They tried making him into a guard, but I don't know about the rest of you. I'm not the biggest Royce Newman believer out there. Thought last year he might have been on the ropes. And I know they really like Luke Tenuta. He got hurt in preseason last year, but they really like him. I mean, maybe they view him as a potential depth piece at tackle. So, we're looking at this as fans on paper and be like, boy, they need a lot of help there. They need a lot of depth there. But that's where I would love to be in the wall, inside 1265, be a fly on that wall and be like, what's the conversation around Luke or Caleb Jones or Rasheed Walker? Because if they really are that high on a guy like Luke and they want to give him maybe a shot, maybe a chance, maybe they kind of get, because general managers say we draft based off of, you know, our board and best available and that bull. I mean, it's not always best available for crying out loud. It's a mixture of best available plus what do you need? Not every team has that luxury just to go. I mean, sometimes you get in a situation like where you can go best available. But in Green Bay's case, uh, you're looking at offensive line and you're probably looking at some defensive help here with this first pick. But I really think with this offensive line, it's gonna Zach Tom is kind of that deciding factor. If they think he's a center and they want to move him to center, all right, let's really hyper focus on some tackles in this draft. Maybe double dipping early. If they say, you know what, we're still going to keep him at right tackle this year, all right, maybe you find somebody in day 2, day 3. Maybe you've got this might say, hey, we found Elton Jenkins in the second round. We found Zach Tom mid rounds. We found these guys. We're we're confident in our game plan and how we do things in that. We're confident we're going to be able to find guys later on. That's why I'd love to be a fly on there. But I think if they view Zach Tom as that Hall of Fame caliber center, put him over there now. Let him grow right now with Jordan Love in this young offense. I should say continue to grow. Let's just start it up right now. Get her going right now. I think when we get to fast forward end of July, when training camp opens, offensive line, the tackle jobs are gonna be very interesting to watch. They're gonna be very interesting to watch in terms of, like, open jobs, battles, and then right guard too. I mean, probably not the best ideal situation to be in going into training camp, and you might have a battle for starting left tackle and right guard. Maybe not the best. Maybe you'd like your offensive line a little bit more solidified at that point in time, but there's gonna be a lot of competition over there, I think. So I'm kind of leaning towards I'll just kinda give you a little tip. I'm kinda leaning towards offensive line with the first pick. It's just which one do they go? A lot of these guys have right tackle experience. So are they looking at a guy to maybe straight up just play right tackle, focus on right tackle, or do they want a guy that maybe has a future as their left tackle? Obviously, we know Green Bay likes the versatility, but a lot of these guys have played majority parts of their college career. A lot of these guys that might be available to Green Bay where they're at have spent the majority part of their career, if not all their career, playing right tackle. So could they transition to left tackle at the NFL level? All right, let's take a quick break here. Then we'll finish up the second hour. Don't forget, send us your who cut, didn't cut the mustard, kind of your studs and duds. And then it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. We'll hit that up just past 8 o'clock here this morning. Hit me up with your text at 715-830-1912. Quick break. We'll be back to finish up the second hour after these quick words. Are you looking to get your name out in the public eye more? Do you need some apparel, drinkware, or signage done? Whatever marketing materials you may be looking for, Resonance Branding Company has a wide range of items to help make your brand stand out from the competition. All your branding needs in one convenient place. Resonance is here to save you time, money, and headaches. And they can also set you up with an online store to sell your items as well. So let me simply ask you, does your brand resonate? Resonance Branding Company, the official swag provider for the program and the Man Cave podcast. Our store too, the online store up there, does have these golf hats. If you're watching the video stream, I'm wearing one. Or if you were at our putting challenge on Friday, we had some over there. So they're up there, available, and some other stuff there too. So if you want that store link to see some swag, hit me up with a text, and I'll text you a link. I'll text you the link to the store. Okay, so just shoot me a text, say, "Dude, want the link," and I'll send it on over. So. Question. First of all, a couple texts to get to here. Rick says if they view Tom that highly, he is the center this year. I think Latham or Barton would be the pick at 25 if it is a lineman. I think this is a smokescreen to get teams to overvalue a position group. Green Bay is in a perfect spot to take advantage. If their player is gone, they will trade back. I think there's about 22 first-round picks and 40 second-round picks. It's going to be fun. Question from Jim. He says if Cooper DeJean is there at 25 along with the best available tackle, who do you think Green Bay goes with? Well, that's the $1,000,000 question, right, man? I mean, I'll be honest. I think it was a Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, or yeah, it was Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft where he had Mims going to the Packers, and he put in his little nugget there that he could see Green Bay going few different positions with at this position. And I mean, that's you could say that for a lot of teams, probably. Maybe not. Obviously, the Bears, we know they're going to go Caleb Williams. Washington's probably going to go quarterback too. But really, in Green Bay's case, I don't have a good feel. Like in years past, I'd be like, okay, this is who I want. This position or this player. And I'll be honest, I'm still kind of struggling. And it's not because it's a lack of players there or talent there. It's more so like you can make the case for a couple. I mean, part of me is like, okay, they got Xavier McKinney, so maybe they look to day 2 for another safety to pair up with him because they already got Xavier McKinney. They gave a lot of money for him, so they're going to look at a rookie now to pair with him. But then I'm like, but when they signed Adrian Amos with that class of Zadarius and Preston and Billy Turner, what'd they do with their second first-round pick? They drafted another safety, Darnell Savage, to pair up with Adrian. So I'm like, yeah, you got that, but then it's like, okay, Nick Collins was a third-round pick. I'm just like, then when they had Nick Collins, Morgan Burnett, I think, was a third-round pick too, but then he got hurt. Charlie Pepper, and then they won the Super Bowl. There's other examples all across the board. So I trying to look for like tendencies and like of what Goody has done. And really, I mean, it's only been since 18? Been a few years now, but man, I it's a tough one for me to gauge. It really is. And I think what was the last offensive lineman Green Bay drafted in the first round? Would it be Derek Sherrod? Back in would have been 2011, right? Because Balaga. And even at that point, I remember looking at those mocks. And they had the last pick in the draft, but everybody pretty much had them drafting a tackle because of Chad Clifton, And then that year ended up, boy, I remember going to that playoff game against the Giants, and they were like splitting snaps. Was it Newhouse and Clifton? Even in that playoff game, Clifton was just kind of falling apart at that point. So, but that's tough. That's why I'm glad I don't make those decisions. I guess if it were me, probably go offensive line. I'd probably go offensive line. I would just say I wouldn't be upset with either. Cooper to me is an interesting cat. Like, They don't just list him as a safety. They don't just list him as a corner. They list him as a defensive back. And I feel like he is a guy. He's a player that you don't want to pigeonhole. That you don't want to like, all right, we're drafting you to play this spot and this spot only, and this is what you're going to do. I feel like he brings a little bit more to the table. And I feel like if you just bring him in to just play free safety, strong safety, or whatever, and that's just his role, I don't know if you are necessarily getting the most out of him. I feel like he's a guy that you can kind of move around, have a little versatility with. Maybe you line up against a wideout once in a while in a little zone coverage. Line him up in the back end, play safe. I just feel like he's a guy that you want him to kind of be all over the field, if you will. So if Green Bay does draft him, I hope, I hope that they utilize his versatility. And now I don't know, but I would think they would with Jeff Hafley coming in and his background being coaching the secondary, coaching defensive backs. I would think he would be open to that and recognize that. But no, until they actually get on the field and such. Kenny Clark the other day, and I know Kenny Clark was on the tailgate tour that just wrapped up and such. But Kenny Clark had some stuff to say about the new defense and just kind of first impressions about Jeff Hafley and such. I said the new defense is good for us up front, allowing them to be more disruptive. More disruptive. Now, here's some other comments here. Talking about Jeff Hafley, fiery, his energy. He's going to bring it. He's going to challenge everybody to be great. That's what you want as a coach. You want to hold guys accountable. I think this scheme, it'll be good for us up front. It's going to allow us to be way more disruptive. Now, Kenny also went on to say that I've always been a technical guy, but it's going to give that mentality to just cut it loose more within this defense. That suits my game well, especially with my get off and how I play technique. So there you go. Just a couple of comments there from Kenny Clark about the expectations for this new defense. Now, was there another note here? No, okay. I thought I saw something kind of popping up here, but I think we all kind of have that same expectation there too. But again, we won't know until they actually hit the field. We can talk about this all offseason. We can kind of go back and, we hear these coaches with their philosophy. We hear these players talking about their interactions and such, but we really won't know until they get on the field and start playing some darn games at this point in time. And I know some of the mocks have been having the Packers, or at least some people have having the Packers drafting a defensive lineman fairly early. Sometimes it's been in the first round, or maybe it's day two, like a round 2 or 3. And I guess I look at this and I don't see it unless they feel like this is going to be the final year of Kenny Clark. So they want to bring in somebody right now. But I thought Carl Brooks had a good year last year. Colby Wood, I think there's something there too. They've got Slayton to stop the run. Rashawn, Preston, Van Ness going to have their hand in the dirt. So I guess for me, I don't see defensive linemen early on in a draft. Maybe another defensive end, considering Enagbare is going to be missing some time, maybe the whole season, or at least a big chunk of the season after tearing his ACL at the end of last year. But I don't know. I don't see it unless a guy happens to fall. Unless one of the better ones or a really talented defensive lineman happens to fall. What would be the one position besides quarterback? What would be the one position, Packers fans, that you would be up in arms about if Green Bay maybe drafted in the first round? What would be that one position? Like, are you kidding me? Why did you do that? Besides quarterback. All right. Peter Schrager just dropped his mock draft, his first one. And this is a kid that, or I shouldn't say kid, this is a guy that puts a lot in this. He's got Mims going to Green Bay. He says a massive offensive tackle at nearly 6'8" and 340 pounds. Mims has tremendous upside despite a lack of experience at Georgia. He's shown enticing flashes in big games. This is a deep wide receiver and O-line draft. The Packers got plenty of production out of their young wide receivers and tight ends last season. They bypassed taking a first-round wideout and grab a gifted offensive tackle prospect. For what it's worth, the pick after that, Tampa Bay, he's got Graham Barton going over there. So, another one for Mims. Mims, I think now is probably the guy that I've been seeing mocked to Green Bay the most right now. Cooper DeJean went at 22 to Philly. He's been a very popular pick to go to Philly over there too. So, yeah, Mims I think is probably the dude that has been heavily mocked to Green Bay more than anybody as I've seen right now. So, for what it's worth, does not have the Vikings trading up to get a quarterback. In fact, he's got the Giants trading up to number 4 to get J.J. McCarthy. Ooh, interesting. As the Vikings staying put, grabbing a corner at pick 11. And then, oh, my bad. Number 23 does have Bo Nix going there. Bo Nix, that one's kind of, I've seen some weird ones out there where Denver's got him at 12. You know, I think we all know, like, the top 4 quarterbacks. It's Caleb Williams. It's Jaden Daniels. Then there's some debate whether it's gonna be Drake May or J.J. McCarthy. But then it's like, okay, is there gonna be a team that sneaks in maybe at the back end of the first round and gets a Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr.? They kind of rule out. I think those are gonna be the 2 interesting ones. All right, we got a couple minutes to the top of the hour here. Coming up next hour, we're gonna talk some Badgers. Speaking of quarterbacks, Badgers lose a quarterback, Nick Evers, to the transfer portal. Also losing a couple more players after some spring ball practices. We'll get the latest with RJ Cardinal from the zone in Madison. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get back to some more baseball and hoops chat. Bucks fans, how you feeling about this series against the Pacers? Perhaps even without Giannis, at least for the first game. That's kind of the rumor out there, unless something can change. Now, we got a few days yet till Sunday. But Shams from The Athletic saying that, there's some serious doubt whether he's going to be able to go in game 1. How do you play this with Giannis? Even if he's not maybe close to 100%, that calf. So we were talking with Dr. Crow on Friday. That could be a tricky thing to deal with. You don't necessarily want to put him out there too soon or rush him too soon. But does desperate times call for desperate measures at a certain point too? But how do you view this Bucks series going up against the Pacers? You've got odds makers. We were looking at the odds earlier this morning. FanDuel, they got the Bucks as tied for the 3rd best to win a championship. Celtics number 1, Denver number 2, and then it's Bucks and Clippers tied at 3rd. Now there's quite a bit of a gap there, but still. Number 3. That was a little high. I thought that was a little high. Even with Giannis in there, just the way this team was trending, I don't know. But got a few days yet till Sunday. Maybe things can change. We know Giannis has surprised us many times before, by avoiding some major injuries or recovering from injury. and that sort of thing. But soft tissues and calves, that makes me a little bit more nervous. So get your picks in. Hit us up with a text, tweet, Facebook, whatever works for you. We'll get back some more baseball talk too. Brewers Padres game 2 tonight. Wade Miley, his second start of the season. I think the big question there is going to be how long is Wade Miley going to be out there? Is he going to be kind of a guy that they may just throw out there for 4 innings piece, kind of a maybe piggyback type of start there? Is that going to be how they approach it with him all season long, or they still just start ramping him up because he got what, one start in spring training, working him up a little bit there. But Wade Miley gets the start. We'll see if the Brewers can end their 2-game losing streak. First time they've lost back-to-back games so far this season. 2 in, 1 to go. We got a little grind my gears action coming up next hour too. We'll be back after these news updates. Third and final hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning. Big thanks for tuning in, wherever, however you're tuning in from. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we'll talk some Badgers with Mr. RJ Cardinal. Badger football team's been having some spring ball, but got some players entering the transfer portal too, including quarterback Nick Evers. So we'll talk to RJ about that, get the latest on some other players that are also heading into the transfer portal. So that's coming up again about, let's say 20 minutes or so. Taking your hoops predictions right now. How do you Bucks fans, how confident are you in their first round matchup against the Indiana Pacers? With maybe perhaps Giannis not playing in game 1, maybe not playing in the first couple of games here. If worst comes to worst, could the Bucks potentially win the series without Giannis? Win this series without Giannis? Got the highest scoring team in the league with the Indiana Pacers, although they're not great defensively either, 4th worst in terms of points allowed per game. Bucks were kind of similar to that, still kind of are similar, but they've gotten a little bit better defensively, a little bit better in transition defense since Doc Rivers has, come aboard, but potentially without Giannis, who's averaged over 40 points against the Pacers this year. That's a big number to try to fill in there, but if they miss him for a couple games, could that couple games be enough to like, "Yep, nope, they ain't gonna get through here. They ain't gonna get through." Bucks are still FanDuel, tied for 3rd to win the NBA championship. Celtics, easy number 1. Nuggets, number 2. Bucks are tied with the Clippers for number 3, the 3rd odds. Brewers are gonna be back at it again tonight. Wade Miley gonna be on the mound for the Crew for his 2nd start of the season. Just how long will he go in tonight's game? We shall see, but last night, Brewers jumped out to an early lead, 3-0. Looks like in the first, I mean, first they should probably been able to put up more runs there. Tacked on a run, bases loaded there, but Bryce Terang hitting into a double play, so Brewers only able to put up 1 run in that first inning against Musgrove. It looked like he was gonna be in some trouble, but settled down after that, ended up getting the win. But it was that crazy 5th inning where the Padres put up 6 runs. No extra base hits in that inning for the Padres either. It was singles and some defensive mishaps. Padres were just moving station to station, and it worked out for 'em, 6 runs. All no extra base hits over there too, even a couple infield singles too, so but, we'll see if the Brew that was the first time this season that the Brewers have lost back-to-back games when you go back to their Sunday game, and they jumped out to an early lead in that Sunday game, against Corbin Burns too. So, was that, 6-4 loss against the Orioles on Sunday. So, Brewers right now, if you're looking at I mean, they're tied up there with the Pirates in the Central. Brewers hold the advantage slightly based off win percentage, but this is getting tight. You got, Milwaukee 10-5, Pittsburgh 11-6. Give the Cubs credit, they're 10-6 as well. Cincinnati's 9-7, and St. Louis hanging around at 8-9. Cubs getting 3-2 victory last night against the Diamondbacks in 11 innings. So, but so far, the NL Central looks like it's gonna be tight, maybe tight throughout, and that was something I think we kind of talked about in the or leading up to the season, that this was gonna be a division that could be tight, but wasn't necessarily going to be a, like a one of the better divisions. You know what I mean? Kinda like similar maybe to AL Central the last couple of years. It was like, okay, it was tight between some teams, but wasn't necessarily the best division. But right now, I mean, you've got some teams playing some pretty darn good ball. Big question surrounding the Brewers right now, though, is gonna be Christian Yelich, and that's where I'm grinding my gears. ASAP use our parts, grind my gears Tuesday, because can we not have anything nice? Christian Yelich was off to a fantastic start, power-wise, right? Displaying the pop 5 home runs in his first, was it, 10 games, whatever that number was last week. But he was off to a fantastic start, and then back on Friday night, leaves the game early because he's got some back issues, tightening up, and now he may be going on the injured list. Brewers have kind of remained, day to day on it. Pat Murphy yesterday saying that his back pretty much the same, so it hasn't gotten worse, hasn't gotten better. They're trying some medication with it. I don't know if it's just inflammatory, ibuprofen, whatever, but the back issue coming up at, like, this point in time when Yelly was playing some really good baseball offensively. It's like, "Come on." I'm not blaming the Brewers or Yelly, I'm just blaming, the baseball gods, if you will, that Yelly looked like he was like, "Hey, now, we got Yelly back from 18, 19, not to over exaggerate a little bit or to get too high, just a few games into it, but I mean, come on, Yelly was off to a fantastic start, and now back issues popping up. How long is this gonna linger throughout the season? All of us probably deal with a back issue almost every week, depending on our ages right now. So, now you just kinda wonder I think we all kinda knew at some point Yelly was gonna have something that flared up, whether, back was a big one or remember when Brian Braun always seemed to, like, every year had an oblique issue, maybe a couple times, and it was the thumb, right? It was either an oblique or a thumb. Then he had that, cryogenic genetics thing, whatever that was that froze the nerves in his thumb, but it was like, yep. I mean, you could plan your seasons out. At some point, it was gonna be an oblique issue or a thumb issue. I feel like that's almost the case with Yelly and the back issue right now, lower back. I hope this isn't something that is gonna be too big of a problem throughout, but that's just kinda what's grinding my gears is that he was off to a really good start, and then it had to stop because of a back issue. Kinda ruined the momentum a little bit, so, we'll see later today. I gotta imagine, though, if they put Yelich on the injured list, it's gonna be retroactive, maybe to the 13th or such, since he played a little bit on the 12th, especially if they don't feel like it's gonna be a long-term issue, over there, and they wanna try to get him back as soon as possible, but I think they also gotta be a little careful with this, and if the offense I mean, last night, 10 hits, you got Contreras, who's, I mean, just on a tear, 11-game hitting streak. I mean, you got other guys who have been stepping up offensively. I mean, Blake Perkins has been having a nice couple games here too. So, as long as the offense continues to rack up some hits and rack up some of these runs, Brewers can probably be a little bit more cautious with Yelich at this point. There's no doubt you want him back in that lineup. I mean, the way he has been playing it, hitting in that 3 spot, you want him back. 12 hits and a loss on Sunday against the Orioles, but they had 10 yesterday. I mean, so far, the early signs of this offense, you gotta be I think you gotta be impressed with what we're seeing so far. They're hitting the ball around. Contreras, man, what a start he's having. For a guy who wants to play every single game, his goal was to play 162 games. If it was his decision, he'd catch 162 games. Well, that's already out the window. But, I mean, he is making it very difficult for Pat Murphy and the Brewers to give him an off day because the way he is hitting right now, you keep him in that lineup, especially with Yelly dinged up. 3 games in a row now, he's gotten 2 hits. Last night, 2 hits, couple walks on there too. But the way he is hitting I know in the first hour we went through some of the numbers and where he's ranked, not just in the National League, but all of Major League Baseball. Offensively, he's up there towards league leaders. Tops amongst all other catchers. Will Smith's is up there too. But Pat Murphy, spring training said William Contreras could be the best catcher in the National League, and right now, he's kind of proven that. And for a guy who wants to play 162 games, he is making it very, very, very difficult for the Brewers to try to give him an off day or to try to give him a rest day. His off days right now might as well just be DH spots. You keep that bat in this lineup. You go with hot streak. You ride that hot streak, man. Yeah, he's making it really tough on him. Um, Blake Perkins, who's been getting some playing time now too, especially with Yelich. You're missing some time here. He's gotten 30 at bats right now. But last couple games, I mean, got hit last night, but that game against Baltimore, 3 hits, including a home run over there. He's hitting 367. So, I mean, you've had guys in the early goings, almost every single player, I think, has been on a nice little streak at some point. Cheerio right now, he had another home run last night, but for the season, 259. He's kind of come down a little bit. Hoskins is at 250. Frelick's up to a 298 after having a slow start. Farang's at 333. He's starting to come down a little bit after his amazingly hot start. Ortiz is at 324. So, I mean, you've had guys that have shown, and Willie Adames, want to give him a shout out too because, he was a guy last year that really struggled at the plate, displayed some power, but I think we would all agree, and the Brewers would probably say the same thing. You'd like to see him be a little bit more consistent at the plate. And right now he's hitting 317 with a 921 OPS. So you've had different dudes, different guys in this lineup produce offensively at some point in this season. A few more texts to get to here. This is from Ben. Ben is saying that he thinks the Bucks can win the series if Giannis misses a couple games. He says if Giannis misses, let's say the first 2 games, I think they split that. But then when he comes back, I think the Bucks will ultimately win the series. This is from David. David says if Giannis doesn't play at all in this series, I think the Bucks lose in 6. This one's from Eric. I think the Bucks will still advance to the Eastern Conference Finals where they will get swept by the Celtics. Okay. Another texter here saying about the Bucks. I think if Giannis doesn't play in the first couple games of this series, that the Bucks will lose unless he goes off and carries the team, kind of like what happened in the NBA Finals against the Suns there. To me, when the Bucks started off 0-2 and then came back and won the next 4 over there. So, all right, if it's not Giannis, it's got to be Dame, right? Can Dame carry the rest of the team? Carry that ball club on his back? Can Bobby Portis fill in? We've seen Bobby Portis be great at times. Can he be great in the postseason and consistently? And what can Chris Middleton do in the postseason to help out his ball club? All right, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to talk some Badgers with Mr. RJ Cardinal coming up here. We'll talk some Badger football here, spring ball going on here, but a couple guys entering the transfer portal, including Nick Evers. We'll get the latest with RJ coming up after we take this quick, short break.
or mbusa.com/EQE-SUV.
Hey friends, running a small business is hard. Running a small local business is even harder. Trying to market that small local business is even harder still. With all of the new marketing techniques out there, it's hard to keep track and it's hard to be an expert. SEO, SEM, OTT, online, digital ads. What's the difference between social and not social? What's a targeted display? You've heard all these terms. Some of them are confusing. Guess what? You don't need to be an expert in all those because we can help you. Midwest Family Eau Claire is not just radio stations anymore. Radio, online, everywhere. For measurable long-term business growth, we're your marketing and branding solution. Whether it's radio, content marketing, digital marketing, graphic design, brand development, live events, or you just need some advice, we can do any of those things for you. With our qualified team of experienced leaders, we can help you sift through the new deep ocean that is trying to make your business successful. Reach out and let's get started today. MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com. That's MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com.
We all struggle with those self-discouraging messages we listen to in our heads.
They make us overthink everything and get in the way of great relationships and the things we want, including a happier life.
There's a great, easy-to-read book that has life-changing solutions to change your thoughts and turn them into a productive fuel. It's called Soundtracks, a surprising solution to overthinking. I'm Benjamin.
And I'm Matt from Eau Claire Ford Lincoln Quick Lane. We're giving away free copies of the book Soundtracks to anyone who wants to discover how to use the power of their thoughts to work for them, not against them.
Soundtracks is the book you need if you're looking for change. Maybe there's someone you know who should read this book.
Go ahead and pick up a free copy of Soundtracks for yourself or for someone you know. They're free while they last. Just stop by Eau Claire Ford Lincoln Quick Lane.
In a world filled with adversity, negativity, and distractions, Soundtracks will help you have more clarity, focus, and power to win the battle in your mind. Just stop into Eau Claire Ford Lincoln Quick Lane.
We know that quality sleep is essential. Every great day starts the night before. And that's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is designed for your ever-evolving sleep needs. So you can choose what's right for you and your partner whenever you want. 2 beds in one. Firmer or softer on each side, you decide. And it helps you sleep at a comfortable temperature as well. Quiets their snoring, so you stay sleeping comfortably all night long. Sleep Number does everything. My Sleep Number setting is 75. Sleep Number Smart Beds learn how you sleep. The beds automatically respond and adjust to your movements. They provide personalized insights to help you sleep better. You will never need another bed. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, save up to $800 on select Sleep Number Smart Beds for a limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com/Patrick.
Stand by as we continue our dig for the truth and the toy at the bottom of the cereal box.
Oh, got it.
The Dan Kasper Show.
This is a time of year we start to get a little bit more active, whether it's playing in a weekend ball tournament or doing some projects around the home. Our bodies are moving a bit more. That may also be a reminder that you got some achy joints, or maybe you got a little bit banged up rounding the bases this past weekend. Whatever the case may be, you don't have to live with that pain. Just visit Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and let the team there help you get back on the field of play or back to doing your home projects. Whether it's a knee, shoulder, or any orthopedic issue, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine will help you live that pain-free life. Just visit cvosm.com to get started. All right, switching gears here a bit. We're going to talk some Badger football here. I know the Badger football team's been going through some spring practice, some spring ball and such, but got a couple guys now entering the transfer portal, including quarterback Nick Evers. RJ Cardinal joining us now. RJ, was this a little bit of a surprise to find out maybe this late in the ball game that Nick Evers is entering the transfer portal?
Well, today is when the spring transfer portal opens, and it's open through the end of the month. Mostly because a lot of schools are already done with their 15 spring practices, and ESPN was showing a whole bunch of spring games last weekend. So I mean, a lot of places are done, so people know their place and all that. This coming out during the middle of spring practices for the Badgers, yeah, it seems like a little bit of odd timing, but I mean, usually we would have started spring practice well before spring break, had spring break, and then finished around probably last weekend or this weekend to get your 16 practices in. But, just this way they did one practice before spring break, and now we're into April and only about halfway through. I think practice 8 is today. But from everything it sounds like, playbook just wasn't getting picked up by Nick Evers. So he was getting third team reps, but so was Mabry Mature, the incoming freshman quarterback from Texas. I think it might be a guy who just maybe found his place and didn't feel that he would be able to, move up from that place with what came in and what was already ahead of him. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, a little surprising, but not surprising at all that it happened.
With the transfer portal and the lack of rules, if you will, could you see a scenario where not a lot of these younger quarterbacks, freshman quarterbacks, are going to be patient and kind of maybe wait their turn, and they're just gonna kind of jump around to try to find that next opportunity that's going to give them a starting job maybe sooner than what it was in the past year?
Yeah, I think you will. I think it'll depend on what you see, at least from a program standpoint, and it'll change from program to program. Whether there's a lineage of this guy's going to be gone, I don't have to wait 3 years, things like that. If you come in and the Badgers, we'll use them as the example, brought in Van Dyke and still had Braden Locke there, who got reps over you last year. They brought in maybe Mature, who is now going to was getting reps with you with the third team, and you weren't really getting a look at second team snaps. So, with the remaining years of eligibility you have, I think he still said he had 3 years of eligibility left. I mean, he has the ability to go play somewhere right away. Where that's going to be, I don't know. But a former 4-star recruit who has all the physical ability in the world. He, he, he by all reports, he probably has the best arm and is the most athletic out of the quarterbacks who are on the roster right now. But if you're having a time and can't pick up the playbook to what the coaching staff feels is necessary to run the offense, it's kind of hard to get playing time. So kind of has to move on and find his own space.
Mm-hmm. Another Badger player too entering the transfer portal, TJ Bowlers. How big of a loss is this maybe for the depth or for the defense for this upcoming season?
Well, yeah, I believe it was this off season, just asked to move to D line as an edge rusher, but you're definitely losing depth on your front seven, which this is the one thing we've talked about that can't really happen because there is no real depth, at least at the D line where he was moved to. A little surprising on this one, but it's another guy who came here under the old regime, and yeah, I guess it's another realization that this might not be the place for me. He was one of those highly touted recruits. I think he was maybe I want to say a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, and like picked Wisconsin over offers from Michigan, Notre Dame. I think Alabama was in there, even picking us over Iowa. where he is from. But it's just one of those where I I wish he would have stayed, but maybe it's not one of those where he wanted to play D line and decided to leave. But I mean, you only have one D lineman really that has any starting experience returning this year. So it would have been nice to have him there, and not saying he is a starter at all, but like that kind of talent coming off the edge, it would have been nice to have. But yeah, in this day and age, it's if you're not happy where you are, you can go where you want, and we'll see where he lands.
Yeah. So anything else kind of from what you've heard or seen or read, anything kind of pop out observation wise from spring ball practice since last time we talked to you?
Well, I have been hearing that it actually is a quarterback battle, and neither Van Dyke or Locke in this spring season are really pulling away from the other. So um, hopefully that changes in one extent or another, because the old saying, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. And I mean, I guess the if he unless you win the national championship like Florida did back with who is the guy in front of Tim Tebow, but they split all the time.
Oh, was it Chris
Uh,
Leak or something like that?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, Chris Leak, thank you. But other than that, if you got two quarterbacks, you got none. And right now, I don't know if you'd go with uh, a class-wise seniority in that situation, or if you'd go with the guy who is more in touch with the playbook. But yeah, the quarterback battle seems to actually be a battle, whether it is internally or not. Externally, it really looks like there needs to be somebody who's going to kind of show up and take control of this offense.
All right. Yeah. RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst, joining us here this morning since we're talking transfer portal. Basketball. I know Isaac Lindsay last Tuesday, I think it was, entered a transfer portal. So another guard leaving the program there too. Other than that, it seems like it's kind of been quiet surrounding the Badger basketball team with this transfer portal. Unless, have you heard anything different?
Well, Frankie Fiedler was supposed to announce yesterday, but visited Michigan State over the weekend and decided to delay his announcement. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Wisconsin over the weekend also had Angel from Stanford in for a visit, and we'll see where that ends up. So really, yeah, nothing to talk on there. But Isaac Lindsay did end up committing to South Dakota State, so he's already landed somewhere else. Connor Essegian in two tweets in 2 days, one at Maryland, one at South Carolina. And it'll be interesting to see where he lands. But then again, outside of with like AJ Storr, um, I really haven't heard anything past. He asked for $1 million from Kansas, and Kansas said 750, so he walked. And they're really outside of that report. I haven't heard anything on him either. But that usually means after we talk. So
Something's gonna
an
happen.
announcement will be made like at 9 o'clock. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but yeah, it's I, you just really haven't heard anything. So hopefully either one or both of Fiedler and Angel come on and become Badgers. That'd be nice. They have a little bit of. Uh, uh, I mean, you need some forwards there, and both of those guys are good forwards. So I'd really like to have both of them on the roster. Whether that's a possibility or not, I'm not too sure. But as of right now, I think there's two scholarships. Of when you look at taking some the two of the four scholarships that are currently open. So really only two there, I believe. So we'll see what the Badgers can bring in. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we see moving forward here as more and more guys start announcing their commitment and leaving the portal.
right now when you look at this team, I know there's other guys that, will be in through the portal and such, but who's gonna have to maybe step up and be that guy for this team? Is it Chucky? Is it Steven Kroll? Who do because I was reading some stuff over the weekend and a lot of people I know they got the odds out already for the national championship because that's what you got to do after, the day after national
Yeah,
championship over there.
obviously.
Right, exactly. So when you look at this team and there's still some optimism that the Badgers will get back to the tournament. They've got a lot of veteran help and experience and such. But who's got to be that guy? Do you think that has to have a really good offseason and maybe step up and be that guy for the upcoming year?
Well, your point there, talking about odds for the NCAA championship next year. I mean, I saw a too early top 25. Wisconsin's number 25.
Yeah.
I don't know, like after the performance you saw and some of the losses they have there, and really one starter, how you pick that. But hey, people are liking what they see. But I think the role Chucky played this year was great. Seeing him concentrate more on being a distributor and the defensive side of the ball was good. I think he learned down the stretch that taking the shot isn't necessarily a bad thing. And we saw him do well in the Big Ten tournament and have some moments and have some stretches there where he was the team. So I don't really think he needs to be the guy to take over. I just think he needs the coaching staff to keep telling him he is a guy who can take over. Whatever you got to keep telling Stephen Crowell to tell him he's scum or whatever they did before games that he played well in, keep doing that. But those are going to be your two team leaders here moving forward. And whatever you can get out of Klesmet and he, we see good things out of them. You just got to hope there's not a drop off there. But your two guys who need to be not just vocal leaders, but on-court leaders really need to be Crowell and Hepburn, and not necessarily to the extent of being two guys who are just going to fill the stat line game in, game out, but knowing they are guys who should be filling it game in, game out, and let the certain game scenarios come to them rather than try to force it in there.
Yeah, I saw actually ESPN had them at number 24 in their early top 25, and I don't know if they know something or not, but they said, there's an addition, they said Daniel Freetox, unless they know already or, that we don't know, but it looks like they're counting him as a Badger, so.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen him waver in terms of his commitment. So when people said he was gone as soon as Dean Oliver left, but everything I've read on Freitag was that he loves Coach Gard. He's a Greg Gard. It's not the guy who would have been coaching him as a guard. It was the head coach is the guy he's going to follow. And so, yeah, he's coming in. That's another guy who's going to be an amazing piece. It looks like by all of his film I've seen from AAU and high school ball. You add that in with Blackwell, who, that's another one. People are like, oh, he's probably going to leave now. And I saw a list of the guys Dean Oliver was the main recruiter for, and most of them aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
So it's one of those they really didn't develop and all that kind of stuff. So and that's another thing. I don't think we have a new assistant coach yet, but you need a guy who can go out and not just recruit but develop the guard position as well. So it's something in flux. Maybe we'll find something out in terms of transfer portal once a new assistant coach is brought in. But it's quite the hurry up and wait right now in the news cycle for the Badger basketball team.
All right. Hey, before we let you go, we got to give a shout out again to Badger tennis, right? I know they fell to number 2, Michigan over the weekend here, but did I see they were Wisconsin's 25, I believe, last I saw
Yeah,
rankings?
I think that's what I saw too. So nothing nothing wrong with
No.
that, you know. But it'll be it's kind of awesome to see when other sports who don't necessarily get the limelight have a good season, and it's one of those like up until this year, I don't think I've ever really thought of women's tennis at all. But now, I mean, I don't know where to watch it. I don't religiously watch it, but I'm a box score watcher, and yeah, sure. After we talked, and I was like, of course, they go get swept,
Right.
right? The the week we talk about them, but yeah, then came back on the weekend and swept Michigan State. What I think they got two more duels, meets,
Mhm.
whatever they call them, before Big Ten play, and I'm not sure what all goes into the Big Ten tournament because I'm guessing it's more or less individuals and a doubles tournament, and however many groups you have in there. I don't know the qualifying for that and all, but I'd assume most teams get somebody in there. And then yeah, you're moving into the NCAA regionals by the start of May, so that's one coming to a regular season end pretty soon. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to see. What I think they're 14-4 then after that, or
16 and 4.
16-4.
Yeah.
Sorry, had to bring them up. But yeah, they're doing amazing, and it's good to see other sports, especially the quote unquote non-revenue sports, doing well.
Right, exactly. All right, RJ. Next week, I want to talk a little Braylon Allen and Tanner Bortolini as we get set for the NFL draft and such. But big thanks again
Yeah,
for this
it's
morning.
coming
And
up on us.
I know, right? So I know because was it some of the Badgers were over at the local scouting for Green Bay and such. Was it last week, a couple weeks ago
Yeah,
over there? So,
yeah.
but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where those two guys go. RJ, we appreciate it, buddy, and we'll catch up with you again next week. Okay, bud?
Sounds good. We will talk to you then.
You got it. RJ Cardinal, bringing it as always. Let's take a quick break and we'll finish up the final hour with some picks and predicts. Playing tournament, playing playoffs for the NBA starts tonight. Western Conference is up first. We'll make those picks. Plus, Brewers. Kiddos, if you had any luck for the youth turkey hunt this past weekend, don't forget, send those pictures on over, parents, so we can put them up on the Tilden Gun Trophy Gallery page on our website at sportstalk1051.com. Just click on the Outdoors tab over there and check out all the photos over there. So send them on over. And for the rest of you who may be going this weekend or for the rest of the spring season, don't forget to send your photos. Plus, if you're hitting the water and doing some fishing and catching some stuff, send those pictures on over too. All right. And if maybe you're not going turkey hunting until next month, you got a little bit of time here, head on over to maybe we'll just Sean and Hunter over at Tilden Gun help outfit you for your hunting adventure. All right, let's do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room. Elbow Room, don't forget, Wednesday night trivia's coming up tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Wednesday. So get on over there, watch some of the games, maybe some of the playoff hoops action over there too, baseball games, races over the weekend, while enjoying a nice man cave light and some great company over there too. The Elbow Room, located right next to the Banbury Place in Eau Claire. Go say hi to Garrett and the entire team over there. Let's do some. First up, let's do some basketball picks. The play-in round for the NBA begins tonight. Western Conference is up first. We got a rematch from Sunday's game. Lakers taking on the Pelicans. I'm gonna go Lakers in this one. I think the Lakers win. So I'll go with that one. This is the 7th versus 8th place one. So Lakers win, they'll get 7th place. And then I'm gonna go Golden State's visiting Sacramento. I'm gonna go Golden State. So yeah, I'm gonna go Golden State in this one. Lakers, Warriors, 2 road teams. We'll pick them to both win tonight. Baseball action here. Let's go Twinnies at Baltimore. The Twins going up against Baltimore Orioles. Tip time. First pitch time at 5:35. You know, I'm gonna go Baltimore. I'm gonna go Baltimore in this one. Let's go then New York Yankees taking on Toronto. I'll go with the Yankees in this one. Then we've got Pittsburgh at the Mets. I'll go Pittsburgh in this one. Why not? Padres at Milwaukee. I'll go Milwaukee. I'm not comfortable in that one. I'm not confident whatsoever. All I just don't know how long Wade Miley is going to be out there. I mean, for crying out loud, the way the offense, I mean, they're putting up double-digit hits per game. So yeah, I'll go Milwaukee tonight. Chicago Cubbies at Arizona. The Cubbies winning last night in extra innings. But Arizona bounces back and gets the W. Atlanta at Houston. Give me the Braves. Give me the Braves. So, all right, that's your picks and predicts. Again, brought to you by the Elbow Room in Eau Claire. Last night also was the WNBA draft with no surprises at the number 1 overall pick, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, big shocker, number 1 overall to the Indiana Fever. Apparently, her jersey on Fanatics is already sold out, is what I saw somewhere. I think it was on the X/Twitter. So, again, no big surprise, but it's now officially official. Caitlin Clark goes to the Indiana Fever. Also, speaking of hoops, sounds like we know who the 2024 NBA, or I should say NBA team, it is pretty much NBA team. The 2024 basketball team is for the men's side. It looks like it's going to be LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Bam Adebayo, Tyrese Halliburton. They are keeping one spot open, it says here, according to ESPN. Team USA Managing Director Grant Hill is keeping one roster slot open ahead of a July training camp and exhibition games in Las Vegas. So, Steve Kerr will be coaching in this one. So there you have it. Pretty stacked team. Got some veterans mixed in there. Honestly, kind of still surprised LeBron's playing in it. Steph Curry and KD and such, but got veterans. Maybe they just want to go to Paris over there. So that was reported. It's not official yet. These are just sources out there. It looks like so, but that was reported yesterday. So, what else do we got on the dockets here this morning? Just to kind of wrap things up before we head off. Packers had their first day of off-season workouts. A lot of teams had it. Probably saw the Aaron Jones one with reporting the Vikings. Looked weird. Not gonna lie, looked really weird. That's gonna take a little bit of an adjustment to get used to. So, but yesterday, probably looking at the pictures or some of the videos that were tweeted, posted out there to see who showed up, who didn't. It's probably much ado about nothing, but Jair Alexander was there. Now this is a voluntary thing, voluntary showing up. Last year, he didn't show up to any of that. And then kind of how the season transpired, suspension at the end. Does it mean anything that he showed up this year? Probably not a whole lot, but I know there's some people trying to connect some of the dots. They're like, hey, he didn't show up last year. This year he is showing up. Maybe a little bit more maturity, maybe more of a leadership role. I don't know, but it could just be much ado again about nothing. So, but they are doing some on-field stuff while the coaches and the players do that. The coaching staff is, or excuse me, the front office and the in the scouting department putting the final touches on their draft board. And I know some players are making some final top 30 visits and such, but I think everything's at this point in time with a week and a couple days. This point in time, I think I think those teams kind of have their draft boards pretty much set up at this point in time. So, but can't wait for next Thursday and Friday. Can't wait for draft. One of my favorite times of the year. Brewers are back at it tonight. First pitch coming at you against the Padres at 6:40. Todd and Kadot had this little nugget. 5 Brewers in the top 25 batting average in the National League. There's your little stat nugget of the day, courtesy of Todd from Kadot. So, Brewers, where are we looking at? Did I say 6:40? I'm at, yeah, 6:40. The schedule I've got in the studio is kind of hard to read at times. So, yeah, 6:40 tonight against the Padres. You can listen to that game on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. For anybody wondering, Buck schedule, we know it's Sunday. We don't know the times yet. We know they play on Sunday. We just don't know the time yet. Now, I don't know if this means anything, but if you go like to ESPN.com, they've got it listed as the second game on Sunday. So I don't know if that necessarily will be time wise. That's the second game, but we don't know at this point in time what that time is. So, and I know they're still waiting. Boston doesn't know who they're playing yet, and the Knicks are playing Saturday, but they don't know who they're playing. Same with Oklahoma City and Denver and such. But we do know the Bucks are going up against the Pacers. The last time Bucks and Pacers played each other, beginning of January 3rd. So yeah, it's been a hot minute. Things have changed a little bit for the Bucks since then too. But Pacers took 4 out of 5. They were high scoring affairs. Has the Bucks defense improved just enough? They haven't made huge strides, but they've improved a little bit. But has it improved just enough to slow down the highest scoring team in the NBA? To slow them down just enough to win this series? Transition defense is gonna be super important for the Bucks in this series. Tyrese Halliburton is gonna be a major focus. And on the surface, it's like, "Oh, yeah, this would have been a nice series." Maybe to have Drew Holiday and his defensive play going up against Tyrese Halliburton. But I kinda wonder, is Patrick Beverley gonna be that guy that is gonna be tasked with going up against Tyrese Halliburton and trying to slow him down? And remains to be seen right now. but probably going to see some high scoring games with this series, especially with Giannis in play. Giannis in all those games against the Pacers this year, over 40 points per game. Over 40 points per game. All right, coming up tomorrow, we'll do another business of sports. We'll hit that up. We got some other stuff on the docket for Wednesday as well, class in session and all that good stuff. Hopefully, we're talking about a Brewers win. Probably we'll find out more about Yelly later on today, Christian Yelich, whether he's going to be on the injured list or not. So, but we'll talk some Brewers coming at you tomorrow. Probably throw some more hoops talk in there too as we get set for the Eastern Conference playing games and that. But don't forget, we'll make your picks. All right, make your picks so that we can kind of see where everything's going at here. T Wolves Bucks finals, huh? Can it happen? Will it happen? Maybe, maybe. It'd be awesome. I'd go over to Minnesota to watch that. Heck yeah. All right, DP and the Danitz are up next. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow morning, just past 6. Talk to you then.